All right, guys, welcome back to the channel for another Real Talk episode. Today, we're going to be chasing down more of the truth, finding more holes in the narrative, the official narrative from the FBI, from the Trump administration, whether you like it or not, guys. I've been getting attacked by both sides of the aisle now, and I have people calling me, telling me this is a very dangerous road that I'm walking down, seeking the truth. I don't know why it's so dangerous. Family members, friends of mine, close associates of mine calling me after seeing my videos and saying, hey, you're a gun channel, you should probably stay in your lane. Or, hey, it's always the tall blades of grass that get chopped down. Don't be a martyr. You have a family, you have things to lose. And that is just, it's never been more clear to me that I need to keep talking about this because I'm getting those phone calls. And as dangerous as it may be, this is my truth. Like, I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe that this is what we owe to Charlie, what we owe to ourselves in this country, to seek the truth. And just if I'm getting persecuted for just asking questions, that tells me I'm asking the right questions, is essentially what I'm trying to say. So with that being said, if you guys do want to support the channel, it would mean a lot to me if you head over to rangedaybro.com. We have our merch over there. We have a bunch of cool designs. Now, without further ado, I want to start this video out with this meme right here, because this summarizes exactly how I'm feeling right now. I think a lot of the American public is feeling. This one is for all of you internet sleuths out there doing the Lord's work and tracking down the actual facts of the situation. CIA director watching everyone dismantle their billion-dollar psyops with low-effort memes. Couldn't be more true. I absolutely love that. So, all right. So again, I don't even know where to start because there's so much information that's come out since the last video that I did. But the main one being that the actual shooter, Tyler Robinson, has now been booked and has been charged. So let's see if we can find that on YouTube. I'm sure many of you guys have already seen that footage. If you haven't, I don't know where just the unedited raw footage of it is, but it's just very plain vanilla. He's not showing any emotion. He's sitting there the entire time, again, very stoic look on his face. And even when they bring up the death penalty, his expression doesn't change. So very strange. He's sitting there in a bulletproof vest. These cameras look like they're from 1984. Very terrible camera footage, but it is what it is. Here's some of the footage here.
It is. Well, I want to go through the qualifications for indigent Rule 8B and Rule 8C.
Another thing I just remembered is he doesn't have an actual attorney. The family is not providing him an attorney. He says he can't afford an attorney, so they're going through the qualifications for him to be assigned a public representative, a public attorney, whatever they call him. So that's another weird thing to talk about there. Again, he just sits there, like you could see. I'll just scrub through, like his expression, his body language, like he hardly moves at all. Like he's breathing. He might have nodded his head. For full disclosure, I didn't watch this whole thing. I consider that to be a waste of time. This is just what they want you to see, of course. That's why it's here in the front of our faces everywhere. So there's that. Let's go back to Instagram. Let's just go ahead and start back at the beginning of the last video, which was this guy right here. This video is what I played that showed a lot of people. And this video is actually what got my last video demonetized. So maybe I should not show this. Actually, yeah, we won't show this. But there is a guy right there in the background. You can kind of see his hands. There's no way to do it without showing this, I suppose. But you know what? I'll just blur this part right here so that this can't be seen. But you'll see this guy's hands. A lot of people are pointing to this guy's hands, saying this guy had a gun that is shaped like a cell phone. And I had several of you guys reach out to me, email me, pointing out the fact that this guy's hands move and it looks like there's a recoil and there's like a puff of smoke. Do I see that? Is it possible? Yeah, just like anything is possible, right? I don't see that clearly enough to be like, yeah, that's exactly what happened. I do still believe it's probably a little bit more likely that it's someone from this rooftop over here, but I could see where people are coming from stating that they think it's that guy back there with his hands. So there are a lot of guns that are small, right? That can fold up into like the size of a credit card, into the size of a cell phone. But people are alleging that guy shot twice, but there's only one shot heard. And again, unless you think that there was a fake shot, a fake sound brung out to mask the shot of a silenced like 22 pistol or something like that actually killed Charlie, then there's really no way to explain the shot, because the shot sounds like a supersonic rifle round. Now, it doesn't have to be 30-06. It could have been 5.56 or any number of cartridges and calibers, but it doesn't make sense with the audio, and I'm not really seeing the connection there. Again, there's just so much to tackle. The main point of this video, I want to tackle the text messages. Before we even talk about the text messages, there's a few more things here. This is a drone sighting during the event here. So this is, I'm guessing this is like CCTV footage from a security camera. And as you guys can see, let's see here. Yes, news sources confirm the drone footage captured. This is from Gronk. So, okay, take that with a grain of salt. I haven't seen much about this. I feel like this would be a lot bigger news if it was true. And you guys can see in this footage, again, whether you believe this to be true or not, there is a drone flying. It looks like an FPV drone based off of the speed of it. You can see absolutely how fast it's going because look at the people moving down here, and they're moving very slowly. And these people are running, by the way. So it looks to be like an FPV drone or some sort of very fast flying drone. It could be a bird. Yeah, it definitely could be. But we're looking at all possible avenues here, all possible explanations. We want as much evidence as possible to be able to prove that the FBI has the right guy and that whoever's responsible for this is actually held to account. Now, this one is really hard for me to understand. I don't know how long after the event this is, because there's still a lot of people lingering around here, but this dude who apparently works for Turning Point USA grabs Charlie's chair, moves it over, puts it, stands up on it, gets the camera down that was directly behind Charlie. It would have had a pretty good perspective on the audience and the crowd in front of him and the actual, I'm guessing, entry and exit wound of Charlie's fatal injury, and pulls the camera down, comes over here and looks like he's messing with the camera, potentially removing the SD card, which is a very simple thing to do. So you can see right here, there's a camera mounted up on like a Joelby, like one of those bendy tripods. I have one somewhere. I think it's downstairs. But you can like wrap them around things and mount it up here. And this will give, Charlie's perspective on the event. So yeah, he moves Charlie's chair. And as far as I know, this is an active crime scene. Why is this not roped off? Why is this not being treated like it's going to be encased in glass until professionals can come and assess everything that's going on? Especially if they hadn't found the bullet yet, if there's bullet fragments, where the bullet impacts, all has implications to where the shot was taken from, things like that. Very important things, especially the chair he was sitting in would be important to the investigation, I'd imagine, and so would that footage. Now, it seems like somebody kind of got the memo there and was like, oh no, I probably shouldn't be filming them doing this thing that they shouldn't be doing, so let me turn around, and you can see there's still people, like it's still very crowded, like all the barricades are still up. It's not like that the authorities have had time to come in here and be like, and go over it with a fine-tooth comb. Let's just put it that way. So that's a very weird thing to me that a lot of people pointed out and sent to me. I don't like that one bit. And where is that footage? That's what I want to know. Where is that footage? Why haven't we seen it yet? Okay, that'll tell a lot about the angle of the shot. Again, especially being from the back. If you had a view of Charlie's neck from the back, you could potentially see the entry wound that everyone's talking about, that back here, that eventually came out over here. And that, again, that's the more likely angle of the shot than from directly front on. That's just, I've kind of concluded that's really not feasible at this point. A lot of people will point to the fact that they're ballistic experts and you wouldn't, bullets do weird things when they hit bone, dude. It's like, no, a 30-06 hitting you directly, even if you want to say the official story, right? 30-06 hitting you directly right here, this whole side of your flesh would be gone. Like, gone. 142 yards, 30-06. I mean, what is it traveling? 2,600 feet per second? What's the weight of that projectile? I don't shoot 30-06, so I really don't even know. Let's see here. 180 grain. Yeah, that's what I'm used to. 180 grain. So 180 grain bullet. That's a lot of lead. Okay. For instance, just for reference, the 5.56 round ranges from 55 grains to 77 grain. So 180 grains is over double, almost is over triple the 55 grain, and almost triple the 77 grain. So just for your reference. So that bullet hitting him right here, it's just not something that I would have thought. I didn't think about it early on. I was so shocked. And then when I came out that was 30-06, that's when I started to think about, that's weird that was just a little gushing wound from a 30-06. People are saying he was wearing a plate. Most likely, I would say 99% chance, he wasn't wearing plates or hard armor, which would allow for a ricochet like that. So that can be ruled out right away. If it's soft armor, it's going to catch. And if you watch any slow-mo impacts of soft body armor, you see exactly what I'm talking about. It does not have a hard backing to allow something to even ricochet off. It'll literally catch it and hug around it like a piece of clothing, because that's essentially what it is. It's fabric. So that's been ruled out by me as well. Now, this is very weird. This is taken, I think this is only like the next day, maybe even, I think it's the next day or the day after the assassination, and then there's already construction happening at the site exactly where Charlie was sitting, which is just pretty weird. There's also a trap door here, which a lot of people are pointing to. You do with that what you will. I don't think Charlie's body was stuffed into a trap door, but it is weird that there's a trap door there. Like, why is there a trap door there? Is it access for like a fire protection system? Is it for their valve? Is it water valve system? Like, there's a lot of things that happen underground that a lot of people don't see, they're not privy to. But it is curious that right exactly where he was sitting where this incident occurred, there's a trap door all of a sudden. And I'm sure it was there before, because that's not something you could easily do without backhoe and large equipment and displacing a lot of dirt. So I'm sure that was there previously. It just looks like they're putting pavers around the area. Again, why so soon? Why isn't this place being encased in glass until the verdict has been, until the gavel's been slammed and the verdict's been, determined and people have been put to death or whatever it is? It's just weird that they're doing this so quickly. So another, I guess, oddity. I think here's another clip of the drone flying across. And again, people might say, hey, that's a bird. Well, is it a bird? Doesn't look like a bird right there. If you don't believe this footage has been doctored, you see how fast it's flying. It looks like a drone to me. It looks like a FPV drone. That's those things go incredibly fast. And whoever was flying it probably thought they wouldn't get caught on camera, is my guess. So weird. This is another weird one here, guys. So this is a kid who works for Turning Point USA, and he gets the mic. I'm guessing this is like right after, like moments after, within minutes, I'm sure, of Charlie getting shot, and he's getting interviewed by this guy. And let's just watch what happens.
From probably the third row in the bottom, I heard the shot ring out. I looked to my left, and then I looked over to my right. I saw him slump over in his chair forward. He slumped over.
Which is not what happened. Weird, kind of weird, right? Charlie did not slump forward. He slumped backward. He kind of slumped forward at first, and then he slumped backward.
He had blood coming from the left side of his neck.
Consistent with an exit wound, I will say that. Let's go back to the conversation in 30-06. We'll kind of breeze over this. If he were to get shot from here, coming out here, with whatever caliber it was, 30-06 would have been more devastating for sure. But it looked like probably a 5.56 round, something of that nature, something small, moving very fast. This much meat, this is about 4.5 inches of meat, depending on the person, right? 4.5 to 5.5 inches of tissue. That's not enough for the vast majority of bullet types to expand properly and to get as much and to maximize the effect, right? Because when a bullet hits, a soft point bullet or ballistic tip bullet hits a target, it splays out and curls back. It's like a mushroom cap, essentially. Let me show you guys real quick. So here you can see what bullets look like when they expand. And what the expansion does is it allows for the maximum tissue damage as it's passing through. There's a permanent wound cavity and a temporary wound cavity. The temporary wound cavity is like the immediate explosive reaction from the tissue from being impacted by something traveling that fast. And then the permanent one is the one that remains after the tissue has had time to kind of, like Jello, kind of elastic back together. And then instead of being, tight, solid, no cuts in it, it's got this permanent wound cavity, whatever it looks like, depending on the round and the speed and the grain weight and all the composition of it, all that good stuff. This is a rifle round. This is how it would look. This one's pre-scored, as you can see. So these are designed to expand like a broad tip on an arrow, right? For any of you bow hunters out there. So, but this is not enough meat for most of these bullets to actually get to its full expansion point, okay? So that is why I believe when people saw what happened to the lower left side of Charlie's neck, they were probably seeing it and saying, there's no way that's an exit wound, because exit wounds are usually much larger and much more catastrophic. That looks like an entry wound. But entry wounds, those same people will forget will forget to mention that entry wounds are typically little tiny holes that are almost unrecognizable, and only after some amount of time will blood even tend to come out of the entry wound hole. Entry wound holes on all the game that I've shot, be it deer, pigs, whatever it is, they're hard to find. You have to like move the fur aside to find the entry wound hole. And this is like with a 308, which is a very large caliber, smaller than 30-06, but you have to look for it. And then the exit wound is catastrophic, large, like it could put your whole hand in there essentially. But that distance is not enough for a bullet to properly expand. We've spent enough time on this now. Let's get back to the other theories here. So this kid's talking.
Down his shirt, and he slumped over and he was carried off. Get off me! Get off me!
And he comes over and gets silenced by a bunch of his peers. Now, what's going on? I don't know. It's just weird. People are pointing to this, like, why is he not being allowed to talk?
Okay. I was standing from probably...
Very weird. He's standing there giving his eyewitness account. People come up to him, tell him, hey, we're not doing this right now. We're not doing this right now. And then he gets, they start getting a little bit of an altercation there with his buddies. They're telling him, hey, we're not doing this. And he's just trying to tell his eyewitness account. Now, is it because it's like so fresh, they think it's, not the right time or place to be talking about it? Sure, whatever. But I mean, again, I believe the more information out there, the better. Now, this is one that actually tickles my heart here. This is someone made an AI meme of Cash sitting crisscross applesauce with his stuffed teddy bear on his bed, asking ChatGPT to make the text messages, the alleged text messages. I won't call them fake, but this is alleging that they're fake, between Tyler Robinson and his gay lover. So make it gayer, no M dashes, make Tyler more specific, be more specific. Okay, so absolutely hilarious meme if you ask me. This is another weird conspiracy right here. I will call this one a conspiracy because I've never heard of this. So they're alleging that the photo taken of the killer in his dorm room, or I don't know where that was, in his room somewhere, has a picture of this island that is allegedly in New Zealand, and it is allegedly a secret location, a secret witness protection location for the FBI. So again, I think this is in his dorm room. So this wallpaper has a picture of this island in New Zealand. So Goat Island, New Zealand. So like that's the island they're alleging. I don't know if this is. I've seen this a bunch, but it could have very easily been like photoshopped into there, because we all know that they were photoshopping the MAGA shirt right onto this killer. So this could have been photoshopped onto his desktop, but it is curious. It is kind of interesting to watch. And on this island, there's this resort called Valhalla, and apparently this is where the FBI takes a lot of their witness protection people. I've never heard of this myself, but this is what the internet's alleging.
Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk. Rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
That is a saying. See you in Valhalla. That's a saying that a lot of people use. A lot of soldiers use. Guys in the military, law enforcement. So is Cash just trying to like sound cool? Maybe. Does this have any truth to it? I don't know, to be honest with you. Okay, this is another really weird one, guys. This one is very strange. And apparently this is in the Internet Archive, so this has been verified. A lot of people have been talking about this. There was a book called The Shooting of Charlie Kirk that was published on September 9th, one day before Charlie Kirk was actually shot and assassinated. The overview of the book is extremely specific. On September 10th, 2025, the campus of Utah Valley University was forever changed during the scheduled event featuring Charlie Kirk, the prominent conservative activist and founder of Turning Point USA. A shocking act of violence unfolded that shook students, faculty, and the nation. This book provides an in-depth, humanized account of the shooting and the immediate aftermath and the ripple effects that reach beyond Orem, Utah. Yeah. Very weird. This is very weird. Again, could this all be Photoshop? Yeah, sure. But again, people who understand the Internet Archive have looked this up and confirmed this to be true. I have seen nothing to actually confront this from the mainstream, from the FBI, from the mainstream media, from any news sources whatsoever. So if there's a perfectly logical explanation for this, I would love to hear it. Somebody, this goes through exactly what happened and it's published the day before. So let's move on to the text messages.
So everyone knows that these text messages are insanely fake, right? No one refers to their car as a vehicle unless you're in law enforcement.
Okay, this girl has some great takes. So before we get into that, let's read the text messages, okay? So here we go. So there's no timestamps. There's just a date here, September 10th. There's no timestamps on these text messages. These are allegedly through the alleged shooter, from the alleged shooter, Tyler Robinson, clearly, to the roommate, which it kind of looks like these. Again, these are not actual screenshots, I don't believe. I think it's just made to look like it's on an iPhone because obviously the roommate would not have his name as a roommate, and I don't think it shows names when you're texting. This is just probably a depiction to explain to people how it works. So Tyler Robinson, at an unknown time, messages his roommate, says, drop what you're doing and look under my keyboard. So drop what you're doing, look under my keyboard. And they're narrating this. It's hilarious. The roommate looked under the keyboard and found a note that stated, I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. Okay. I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. I had, and I'm going to. So bad grammar, perhaps? If this was written in the past tense, if he was writing this before he did it, it would say, I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. This is very weird. So is this just a typo from this CNN.com? Could be. Let's move on. Already one inconsistency. I didn't even think about this. I just found it on the spot. This is so dumb. What? 45 question marks? You're joking, right? Okay, this guy puts a comma. And then, so what kind of Zoomer would write with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, over 10, probably like 15 question marks, and then use an apostrophe RE on your, and then joking, comma, right? And then 4 more question marks. It just screams to me somebody is trying to make this look like a young kid who's a transgender person and not actually what this person would say. I am still okay, my love, but I am stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this a secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you. Okay, you wanted to keep this a secret till you died of old age, but you wrote a note and kept it under your keyboard that anyone could have found by accident. Like, if you really wanted to keep this a secret till you died of old age, you wouldn't have had that note under your keyboard. Like, also, as you see here in a moment, he's about to admit to murdering the guy. So why would he need to write a note, a handwritten note, if he's going to go on the record digitally in his footprint, put that he murdered Charlie Kirk? This is so dumb. Like, if you actually believe these text messages are real, I gotta say, is there a possibility? Yeah, but I think it's a very small, like less than 3%, 2%. I mean, just based off of what I know about young people and how they text. I'm 32, I'm not that old, but also I'm not 22, but I hang out with some people that age. I shoot with some guys around that age. I see how they talk. They text me. I see how they text. They don't text like this. Okay. You weren't the one who did it, right? I am. I'm sorry. Literally, just admits to it. So you wanted to keep this secret till you died of old age, but you put a note under your keyboard implicating that you did it and then told your lover, roommate, to find it. And then immediately right after you admit to it. Very, very strange. Like, why are you admitting to it? Why are you telling where this note is if you wanted this to be a secret till you died of old age? You asking him for help? No, we go on to find out he's not asking him for help. No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in a similar clothing, okay? I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. Again, Vehicle. Very weird choice of words. Drop point. Was this kid military? Law enforcement? No. Who says drop point? I mean, I don't say drop point. Very weird. Why? Why did I do it? Yeah. Like, dude, what? Why? Why did I do it? Are you asking me why I did it? You asking me to admit to doing the crime right now in this text message? Yeah. I had enough of this hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Wow. No evidence except for this extremely incriminating text chain that will 100% be read by authorities and by the entire world, completely and conveniently explaining why I did this and that I did it. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. What? How long have you been planning this? Again, premeditation. This is building up the case for this being a premeditated crime and this being the motive, right? This is building the motive case, which you need motive, you need ability. What are all the three things you need in order to prosecute somebody? Motive, motive and opportunity. A bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it. I think they're already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. Okay, a bit over a week. I've been premeditating this crime for a bit over a week. Perfect. Great for the prosecutors. I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it. A squad car. I've never typed out squad car in my life. Like, who says squad car? Nobody. You'd say once again, I'm pretty close, but there's a cop next to it. Like, also, you wouldn't be saying any of this. This is just so absurd. I'm wishing that I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. Once again, vehicle. Who says vehicle? I am worried that my old man, who calls their father old man? Nobody. What would you do if I didn't bring back my grandpa's rifle? That's another thing that we found out. The rifle was allegedly gifted or given to him by his grandfather, which we'll get into in a second. I don't know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worried about my prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Oh, explaining the change of outfits there. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it, and I hope that they don't find prints. How the fuck will I explain losing it to my old man? Once again, you just murdered somebody. I guess it's a concern, like, to explain losing the murder weapon. But, like, there's just so many issues with this. Like, your problems are way bigger, kid, than your dad being mad at you for losing your grandfather's gun. How about when the gun comes up in the woods and they pin a murder on it? How about that problem there? Only thing I left was a rifle wrapped in a towel. Again, explaining exactly what the mainstream narrative wants you to believe, as well as with the change of clothes. Remember how I was engraving the bullets? The effing messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulges on Fox New, I might have a stroke, all right? I'm gonna have to leave it. That really effing sucks. Once again, explaining exactly what happened. It was found, and that actually happened where people were talking about this on the mainstream media. Judging from today, I'd say my grandpa's gun does just fine. I don't know. I think that was a $2,000 scope. People are talking about how that gun was not properly, could not have made that shot. The scope wasn't properly mounted. It's an old sporterized Mauser. You know, we actually have a Mauser here. So this is actually a sporterized Mauser from a friend of the channel's here. This one is chambered in 6.5 Creedmoor. It is a Turkish action, but it is exactly the same operation-wise. So as you can see, this is a properly mounted optic for as far forward as it needs to be to have the proper eye relief with this optic here. Unlike the one that was used in the crime. This one has a wood stock. This one is bedded, as we talked about in our last video, meaning that it uses this Maritex, like this marine, like pretty much what they use to repair boats, like holes in boats, essentially, to create the perfect surface for the barreled action to lie into to give you extreme reliability and consistency in your accuracy. So this is an actual Mauser sporterized that is very similar to the one that was used, besides, again, it being a much nicer and properly set up one with a nice wood stock. This one does also have a detachable magazine, and this one is chambered in 6.5 Creedmoor. So a few differences, but not not very many, I would say, right? Can still be used as a placeholder for the gun that was used. And this guy, once again, is talking about how people are talking shit on the way the scope's mounted, how that shot could have never been made with that rifle. And here's another convenient message talking about how, oh, it did just fine. I think that scope was like a $2,000 scope, which isn't like unheard of. Like, scopes are very expensive. But again, from the looks of it, from the photo that I saw, like, it was a very terrible photo, to be fair. Like, it could have been a Swarovski or like some sort of nice European glass optic. It just wasn't mounted right. And again, it's just so funny that he's mentioning the scope and the price of the scope in these text messages. Like, bro just committed murder on like a very high profile individual. So just so strange. Delete this exchange. My dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has it and what the feds and what. And who has what? The feds released the photo of the rifle, and it's very unique. He's calling me right now, not answering. Like, again, probably trying to explain the phone records there. I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff. You are all that I worry about, love. I'm much more worried about you. Don't talk to the media, please. I don't have any interviews or... don't take any interviews or make any comments. If police ask you any questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent. God, you can't even make this shit up. But back to the Mauser real quick, guys. This is the safety that everyone was talking about. That they were trying to explain away the reason that the scope was mounted so far back. On a traditional Mauser action, there's 3 positions to the safety. On this one, there's only 2 positions. It's fire, safe. And then on the traditional one, if you flip it all the way up, it locks the bolt so that you cannot open the bolt, okay? In this configuration, when the rifle's unsafe, you can still open the bolt on this Turkish Mauser. But on the original Mauser design, there's a 3rd position, which could explain the reason it's mounted so far back. But even then, if this was mounted back further and the bell on this magnifying ring wasn't here, it would still hit the optic body when you're trying to flip it all the way over to the top. And these rings appear to be a lot higher than the rings that were used on the rifle in the Assassination. So let's see. So here's the photo. As you guys can see, they're about the same height or lower than this guy. And that's the safety right there. So if that were to be flipped up, it would still be hitting the magnification ring there. So that does not explain why it's mounted so poorly and so far back. As you guys can see, the rings on this is properly mounted. The rings on this are not butt up against the turret housing here, okay? That's the way his is mounted up. This is all the way slid back. This ring is hitting the turret housing, and this is hitting the front of the bell here, okay? So it's obviously preference and size and things like that, how you would mount this, but we've already talked about and broken down the other photo that we have of Tyler Robinson holding his .22 Ruger and the proper eye relief for him there. Now, is it possible? Yeah, it's possible, but I think it's unlikely. But this text message right here conveniently discusses that and puts that at ease for those people. Now, we're not going to take this thing apart because, again, it is bedded. This is my friend's like very prized possession. He loves this gun. I think this is the first gun his father gave him. It's a sporterized Mauser, and he asked me not to take it apart because if you took it apart, it would affect the accuracy, guys. That's the whole point of what I'm trying to tell you. It is a bedded rifle. To take it apart, it would only be these 2 screws here. In this case, they're actually hex head. Or not hex head, they are star key. So this is, again, a modernized version. These are already updated screws. The originals would just have a flathead screw there, which is easy to strip out. But all we need to do is take these 2 apart, and it would you'd be able to pop the barrel action out from the stock, and that would allow you to take it apart. But again, it still doesn't explain how you could hide a over 30-inch piece here and an over 30-inch stock. We've already talked about that in the previous video, though. So let's go back to this lady right here and her points.
Nobody says squad car. You would just say, oh my God, I just saw a cop. And why would Robinson be telling his roommate, who he's supposedly in a relationship, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA? The person you're in a relationship would already know that. No 22-year-old refers to their parent as my old man.
Where did I miss that? Okay, yeah, I just skipped over it. So since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. Okay, my bad.
Man, nobody would say, I worry about Prince. I don't know if it had a serial number. And he writes out very clearly a timeline. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits, didn't have the time to bring it with me. I might have to abandon it. I left the rifle wrapped in a towel. Nobody would write step by step. And when he talks about the engravings, he says, mostly a big meme. Young people don't talk like that. Elon Musk talks like that when he's trying to be funny.
Ooh.
He's like, I am become meme. This is so obviously Gen X law enforcement trying to create a narrative. You gotta read these texts for yourself because nobody talks like this. Nobody.
So she brings up a good point. Let's see here.
At 6:38 p.m. at a nearby Dairy Queen. Here is that photo that we can show you. Just take a look at this photo. What is wrong with this picture? A lot is wrong with this picture. First and foremost, 6:38 p.m. You just shot someone. You have gone through great pains to hide your face, to change your outfit. But wait, you didn't fully change your outfit, did you? I'm looking at this photo and you're wearing jeans and you're wearing the maroon shirt. Now we have a 50-50 combo of the outfits. And now you're showing your eyes and you're not fearful at all that you might be recognized. Also, wow, you must have quite the stomach. You don't have a record. Next thing you know, you shoot someone and you're like, I'm just going to go have a meal. You don't seem to be too shaken or too upset. Something problematic is the location, by the way. We mapped this out. It's about 15 minutes away from the campus at a time when we're told that he's idling by, babysitting the rifle. So you can see, we're showing you, it's about a 17-minute drive away from the campus. So there should be a lot of footage then of this Dodge Challenger driving back and forth. Okay. And like I said, the biggest thing that jumps at me is he looks kind of content there. So he's got to be a full-blown psychopath wearing half of what the feds told us he was wearing in the morning and half of what the feds told us that he was wearing during the shooting. Okay, so why did he text in this exchange at all and say that he changed outfits? When you just said, I changed my t-shirt, if that's the reality, you just changed your t-shirt and that was enough? Was it just a t-shirt that he changed? The outfit, again, as I sensed yesterday, has always been problematic. I feel the outfit was the Fed mistake. It never made any sense to say that he wore an outfit onto campus, light khaki shorts and a maroon shirt, and then decided to completely change hours later. Because why wouldn't you just change the t-shirt? That actually makes more sense. Every kid wears blue jeans. Allegedly taken at 6:38 p.m.
Okay, so very interesting. So guys, that's gonna wrap up the video. Again, just asking questions here. It should never be a scary thing to ask questions in the United States of America. This is our First Amendment right, and I believe every single one of you also believe in that. So if you want to support the channel and want to support what I'm doing here and see more videos like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Head over to rangedaybro.com. There's a ton of ways you can support the channel over there. Also, super thanks. All that stuff is much appreciated. I love every single one of you guys. As always, Christ is King. Drink a lot of water. Stay safe. Stay dangerous. Range Day Bro. Out.